Well, welcome back. I don't have the A7 anymore, as you can probably tell from the title. But the A7's gone. Lucky for you guys, though, I actually have a new car already. I sold the A7 about 3 weeks ago, I'd say. And, well, shortly after, like 2 weeks after, I bought a car. Ready to see it? There it is. That's right. I got a Honda CRZ 2015. It's an EX. And I didn't actually know this until recently, but there is a slight difference between the 2013 to 2015s compared to the early 2010s to 2012s. The bumper is different. The grille is different. The headlights are different. And you got different wheel options. Other than that, though, car's pretty much the same. I personally love the look of this little Honda. I know a lot of people hate it, but personally I'm a big fan of it. I think it looks great, and well, it's mine. It really is mine, which I think is just the greatest thing in the world, honestly. So you may be asking, why did I go for such a big change? A nice German car with a decent amount of power to something Japanese with no power at all. Well, for one thing, that's why. Got a manual. That's right. I did not get a CVT. I got a manual car. And second of all, I wanted something reliable. And third of all, I really just fell in love with the dashboard of the car, which you'll see later. And just the car in general. When I sat in one in CarMax, I was like, I have to drive this. And they didn't have it available for like a month before they finally said, okay, it's available, come drive it. I did. Not this one, it was a different one. It was a CVT. And yeah, that was like 5 months ago at this point. And so I started looking for them. Got the A7 sold for not as much as I would have liked, but you know, enough money to get me into something that I like just as much, I'd say. I don't know. I can't really speak on that too heavily right now because I just got the car, but we'll see later on down the line. But yeah, this is my little Honda. And it's actually exactly what I wanted too. It's an EX. Well, almost. I wanted a 2016 because the second facelift was in 2016, and that was the last year that was the last year they made these vehicles at all. And it was the first and only year of the facelift, which actually had a noticeable difference in the bumper. And yeah, I also didn't get the EXL navigation trim, but I'm not complaining too much about that because I'm going to replace it with a screen anyway. But I did get an EX, which means I get a few upgrades, such as the lights. The headlights are different. I got the factory subwoofer, backup camera, so all pretty nice stuff considering. And this car costed $18,800. And a lot of people were confused on my A7 video. They thought I wasn't joking when I said I paid $30,000 of my own money. No, I definitely didn't. That was my parents who paid for my car. But this one, I just used the money from the A7 to pay for this car completely. So there's that. And yeah, there's pretty much nothing really much to look at on the exterior of the car. So let's start showing you some of the details a little closer. Well, here is the motor powering this thing. It is a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder. But this one's a little different. If you don't know about the CRZ, this thing's a hybrid. That's right, it's a hybrid. Which means it's got integrated motor assist, which means something. No, what it actually means is that the hybrid battery in here isn't like a Prius hybrid battery. This thing never fully runs on electricity alone. Instead, the motor is always helping it out in some way or being recharged constantly. The battery will constantly deplete and refill as you're driving this car, which is really cool. It also has sort of like KERS system. There's a Sport Plus button you'll push in there. It gives you a little extra for 5 seconds. So this car makes around 130 horsepower and 140 foot-pounds of torque, which is fairly modest, if I'm honest. Compared to my last car's 310 horsepower and 325 foot-pounds of torque. Why did I go for such a low number? Why? Why didn't I get something more powerful? I wanted something more powerful, I'll be honest. I really wanted a Mustang, but they were out of my price range. The ones I wanted anyway. I wanted a 5.0 because I did not want a modular. And also this car, fuel economy, big thing. I've been averaging over 30 consistently, doing city driving mostly. So you take that how you want to, but I'm gonna say this. My last full tank fill up, I had 9 miles left of range, and with today's gas prices, I filled up with premium. It costed me $40. That's it, $40. Usually that would be a lot. Not today. We'll open up the back here as well, just so you can see the trunk space you get. It's about what I expect. Small trunk for a small car. No, those are not rear seats that you can fold up. They're what should be rear seats, but they are not. I will fold those up and show you. So here's what's back there, and I'm trying to get you guys a good angle, but it looks like someone took rear seats and just took them out and just left you with that. So that's really cool. And with those in place, well, you get from pretty much here back to here. So that's what you get in terms of cargo space. Do get a cargo divider. If I could manage to do it. Yeah, there you go. That hides your stuff pretty well. But I personally like to leave it open because it blocks the subwoofer. The subwoofer sounds nice. I can't demonstrate it on camera because cameras suck at picking up speakers. But you guys can go see for yourself. Someday, I'm sure. I'm sure these cars aren't too uncommon to find at a CarMax. I found one. The manuals are pretty rare, but the automatics, not so much. These taillights are really funny looking, I think. I don't know how I feel about them personally. I can't find anything really aftermarket, but I mean, I didn't exactly search for any. But the third brake light's cool because it is integrated right up here at the top, which is pretty cool. You may notice this looks like a Tesla in the fact that it has no exhaust pipe sticking out of it. And you'd be right, it's actually under there. It is under there, you can't see it. It's like an old 5 Series. And yeah, that's pretty much all the exterior of the Honda. Let's go with the interior now. Okay, so now we're on the interior and you can immediately see the dashboard, which I love. The reason I fell in love with this dashboard is because it looks super modern still. Like if this was a 2022 car, I guess, 2023? What year are we on? This could still pass as new car dashboard. Somehow they have managed to make it to where the zero here, these two gauges and these two gauges maintain perfect blacks, even when the car is not well lit, like at nighttime, for instance. This screen, you can tell it's an LCD panel because it's super bright at night. Even the blacks look blue, but somehow the other gauges, they stay black. Don't know how. You can also see the zero. If I take the camera off slightly, it will clip through the black box, and that's super strange, or black circle. But here's the steering wheel. You can see got a few controls. Someone did a poor job on touch-up paint. This car wasn't exactly the cleanest example of a CRZ, but I'm not complaining because mechanically it works fine. Peep the Audi keychain still on there. Sport Plus button, that's an option in this car, and I have the option. Got your call buttons here. You can make phone calls through Bluetooth. However, you cannot play audio through Bluetooth. It is only calls. But yeah, radio controls, cruise controls. You know how it is. You got your modes over here. Sport, normal, and econ. And mirror controls, traction control. And you have a dedicated button. If you hold it, it'll switch you from miles an hour to kilometers an hour. Why? I don't know. Probably someone's lazy. Over here, you got your climate controls stuff, which probably sounds horrible in the mic, I just realized. And you got your radio, which I'm planning to swap out for a screen. And manual, which feels nice. It's a very short clutch, in my opinion. Like, I'm 5'7", and really, you don't get much clutch space at all. Shifting feels good, all that. And there's your shift pattern there, no lockout on reverse. And the backup camera is in the mirror, which I am very fine with because my brother's Tacoma is the same way. And it sits 2 adults perfectly comfortable. And, well, it has a glove box down there, which is fairly roomy. It holds a pencil, or in this case, a tire pressure monitor. So that's cool. And you can see those 2 things back there again. So yeah, that's pretty much the experience on the interior. So, oh yeah, here's the door panel too. You get your window controls, automatic driver's window only, passenger window, manual. Window switch, locks, door handle, your standard stuff. Okay, let's get driving. All right, so on to the driving experience, but you may notice I look a bit different. That's because this video was recorded about a month after the other clips, because I wasn't really satisfied with how I drove the car back then, because I mean, I'd only been at it for 5 days, so I wasn't really good at it, and I was just focusing on driving and not really explaining the things about the car. So I'll try and do that a bit better now, because I think I can drive the car a bit better now. Right away, the thing I noticed the most with this car is just how early you can let the clutch out. You can let the clutch out at about 3 miles an hour in first gear. So starting's very easy in this car. And even on hills, it does have hill start assist. So I mean, yay. Because that was what I was most nervous about when buying a manual car, was starting on hills. Luckily that hasn't been too big of an issue. I've stalled a couple times on hills. Really steep ones. But I mean, it hasn't been that big of a deal as I expected it to be. The horsepower is pretty low. We'll see that here now. I mean, it could move. And that was 60, which is not the fastest thing in the world, of course. I've definitely driven faster stuff. I've owned faster stuff. But, I mean, it does what it needs to do. And really, for me, it's fine. I don't really have any issue with it. I haven't had any issue with it. Highway stuff has been a bit slow. The mid-range of this car is not very good. Mid-range power. Because you do get a lot of early power with the hybrid motor kicking in. And you do get a lot of top-end power. I say a lot. I mean, you get a lot for this car, power-wise, because, I mean, VTEC, obviously. So, yeah, but mid-range, not much there. Could definitely be better, but I'm not going to modify this car to add any power or anything, just because I don't want to make it any less reliable than it already is. And I'm not saying it's an unreliable car, because really it's not. It is not at all. I expect this car to last me a long time, because I mean, Honda doesn't exactly build unreliable cars. I'm sure they have at some point, but this one is not one of those. This car is pretty good from a reliability standpoint everywhere I've read, CRZ owners and stuff like that. But yeah, suspension feels good in this car. It could be a bit more comfortable for everyday driving, I think, because you got McPherson struts in the front and you got a torsion beam in the back. But I mean, when you actually want to go around corners and stuff in this car, it feels good. honestly, it's one of the better handling cars I've ever driven. I'd say it's probably not on par with a Miata. And yeah, really the only thing I can compare the handling to that I know of is Justin's Volkswagen, because I mean that's another manual hatchback, I guess. And I mean it handles about the same or better than that, I'd say. But really, yeah, the handling is the fun part about this car. Straight line performance, not so much. Definitely find almost anything that's faster. I'm getting gapped by minivans, of course. In fact, I'm getting gapped by like BRZs. For an enthusiast car, which I would consider this an enthusiast car, because I mean, you don't see many of these unless they're in the hands of enthusiasts or people who just really want something super economical, but they never get the manual. But in the hands of an enthusiast, it's fun. It's really fun. I love it. The throttle response feels good. I actually really like it. I saw a lot of places complaining about it online when I read reviews of the car, but it's not bad. I really like the throttle response. I think it feels great. The brakes are amazing. Some of the best brakes I've ever felt, actually. Even though this car has very tiny brakes, it only weighs 2,600 pounds, so there's not much to stop. The transmission feels excellent, though. And the shifting, it just feels very clicky, very notchy. I like it a lot. Very short throws, which is cool. And the clutch, I mean, it's not the best I've ever felt, I'll be honest, but I mean, I do like how short it is, that you don't have to push your foot down like a mile. And me being 5'7", that's great for me. And of course, the general feel of this car is nice. I mean, it hasn't really been anything I couldn't do in it, which is just so cool to me, that this car has just been pretty much perfect for just me, because I mean I don't really transport many people around these days, but yeah, this car overall feels great. The only thing I could really complain about is third gear grinds when it's cold, but other than that, the car drives beautifully. And I don't know if what I plan to do to this car yet. I do have a lot of stuff in mind that I want to do, but none of it I can really guarantee, if that makes sense. So I'm not even going to mention it. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole driving experience. Also, yeah, the handbrake feels great. Yeah, that's the whole driving experience. I can't wait to live with this car some more and just hear feedback if you guys have any for me. Hope this gets received well on YouTube. And yeah, hopefully you guys can enjoy just me having a Honda now instead of an Audi. I know the Honda will probably be less problematic than the Audi, and I won't make as many videos on it probably, but I'm trying to think of fun stuff to do with the car while I have it. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for that, you can let me know that too, and I'll be happy to accept suggestions. I don't know if I'll do them all or what, but we'll see where it goes. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Goodbye.